This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster. Well, I'm downloading Canary Space 3 and 4, and the making of Canary Space 3 and 4, to the channel right now. It's downloading. It's taking forever. It should be done by the evening, I hope, for release, official release. It should be by the evening. Some of the cast from the Legacy was at church last time. So there's going to be another Legacy thing for Valentine's Day. Yes. It has been a while since there's been a Legacy story. And, having stripped the paint off some of the extras that were in the story, they look kind of like zombies. So some of them kind of are. So there's a zombie Valentine thing idea, and which could be a short video thing. But instead of that, that'd be funny. But instead of that, we're gonna make it even funnier. I painted up some of the figures, and well, there was no cast party. Yeah, there was this. Okay, there was this on location missions episode over there on the other channel. There were a couple of plays that happened. A kid played an adult play. I had erroneously mentioned it would be fun if there was a cast party to Amanda Ramsey. One of the cast legacy cast and the cast of the story. But I didn't know that if there was or wasn't. But she assumed she was therefore not invited to said cast party after the play was over. A week or so later, they did the Christmas Eve, the candlelight service and all that. I said, there was no cast party. And she said, there must have been. No, I missed it. But it would have been the kid cast party. She wouldn't want to go to that. Yeah, she didn't know any of them. So it would have been that no. She's referring to the adult ones. I wasn't invited to that either. So I didn't go to the adult play cast party. And so at the end of every one of these Starship location story series things, there's always like an after show type of thing here, and that's kind of what I was referring to. My own thing, no one else is there. It's not a cast party. We used to do those, and after the Christmas story, the behind the scenes, I guess, making up. After that, on Christmas candlelight service Eve a while back. After those other things happened, there were other get-togethers and things going on, and there happened to be one that the Shoals invited a bunch of people to, Denny's, and that wasn't a cast party either. There were some cast members, but of the plays that happened to go there. It wasn't a cast party. They went to Denny's. It wasn't a cast party. It wasn't a party. They went to dinner that Denny's had. She was invited to that. I did invite her to that. I said, you can come along with us to Denny's, or some of us are going to go to Denny's. But there's no cast party. It shows up again just recently. At Sunday, and she was flustered about, probably not about that, because that doesn't make sense. There was no party. It was just being goofy. And she understands that it was not a, I hope that there's no, I wasn't invited to a cast party either. It wasn't like Hollywood, and they go to a party afterward. They usually go to dinner afterward. That's not a party. Even though there were back in the day when they had them, it wasn't a party. So you have this, the end of this Canary Space story could also have that, but it's not related. Yeah. Amanda Ramsey was annoyed that she hadn't gotten around to putting pictures from the Brazil trip up, but that I had done a parody version of the Brazil trip, and she didn't mind it. It's just I didn't have enough. Like I didn't have enough of didn't have the sister mentioned at all. Didn't have the other stuff mentioned at all. Changed things around and made it different. Although originally the original plan was to make it different because she didn't want to include that stuff in a spoof of that event. Yeah, don't include those people in there. Maybe she didn't like that tooth scene was funny. Tooth scene was funny. That was good. That's not what happened, but that's funny. It's comedy. Yeah. So, yeah. Of course, she could have been on about something else entirely. But anyway, in either case, yeah, when we do our fan film cast party, it's not a party either. It's just screwing around with leftover stuff that was left of the figures on the cutting room floor, and we're like, oh, this is kind of fun to do this. Yeah, let's do that. And so yeah, we can do that. And so I would like to do that, to make it's not a cast party either, but she can treat it as one. and the irony is that in the story, that none of the pictures are a repaint of Amanda Rumbley. She's not there. Okay, she wasn't there at the party. I wasn't either. So I'm not there either. So it'll be really bizarre to see this sort of like these different transported guys down to the planet. Characters from Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Next Generation, a little bit of Voyager, a little bit of Deep Space Nine, who participated as background characters, extras, villains, and heroes in Canary Space, in their civilian attire on a planet, civilian / Star Trek attire on the planet. And we have the two different Kirks who were on the bridge together, who were, one of them was Purra and one was Purra's assistant, going back and forth to each other, which is funny, and all that other stuff. I'm homage our own stuff because going on a quest is fun. And I thought, well, that's your hook for your Star Trek story. That's completely ad-lib. No script. They're just going to hang out. Let's hang out with the crew, kind of thing. Brian's story was earlier. He was earlier on in the late December, or around the same time period, December, before the plays. And he was there. They're going to do an Easter one, so that's kids again. Yeah, she's invited to those, but there was no cast party. There was a kid cast party. There was one. And although that was briefly at that, so there was a kid one. And then they went on and they did other things. And then some of them went over to one of the mother's houses and had a sleepover. It's completely different. And I wasn't there, of course. That would be silly. But other things occur that why would she want to do that? That's weird. So yeah, I'm gonna use that as story elements here, in that she's not there. That's funny. Oh yeah, so she's out there. Yeah, so that'd be funny. Yeah, and she's a Q-like creature thing. This story could be set in any time period between the last Valentine's Day special episode during last year and currently. And since we jumped 6 years ahead between seasons 1 and 2 here, season 3 here, I guess technically, between 7 and 8 jumps ahead like 6 years. Yeah, to the other time period. Yeah. Well, technically, Canary Space 3 and 4, the two movies, are actually just the one movie. It's just very long, separated into two movies. You can kind of tell because about in the middle, it kind of they're on the planet and then they go up into space. It's like, oh, well, this is when it would break. You'd go into the next half, go back to Earth. Yeah, so they're trying to milk it for more money by having it to be parts 1 and part 2 and Colony 1 and 2 and have them Earth battle. No, that's not it. There's no money to be made, no revenue on the set of the fan film. But yeah, we'll do a special. So earlier today, I had gone over. We usually do. Usually have, well, at least with the Legacy show over the past year and a half, you have the Legacy show and the Transformer one before that. past year, ever since the beginning of the Legacy shows, there's been 8 episodes. And then you have the Canary Space, the new one has 4 episodes. So usually what you do is when we do 3 of them and then go to the 4th one and then we go on to, and the 4th one is usually improvised. Each 4, the 4th one is improvised. Like the 8th one was improvised, the 4th one was improvised. This one's going to be improvised too, just because don't want to bother with the script. But yeah, it's just a fun sort of thing, and which will probably doubtlessly annoy some of the other family. They're not watching anyway. But yeah, so the rambling thing about the party idea is part of the story, in that Q shows up again in this one, and it's a like an annual, like this comic books used to do. The DC Star Trek comic books used to have an annual, so it's going to be an annual. I don't know if this is a recurring theme, but it seems to be. This is Valentine's Day. Since Valentine's Day was both universally liked and despised at the same time when I was younger, even though it was also my mother's birthday, but that's not why it was despised. It was despised because I didn't have a girlfriend. See, when I was younger, I didn't have a girlfriend. So I didn't like the holiday as a holiday because it was like no girlfriend, and it was like, it was a birthday party, and usually that's what it was. So yeah, that was the reason, which is weird. So there were these Valentine journals and all that stuff, and sort of spoofing that in the other one. With this party that you have, party story idea, which is the only other story idea that we have, that kind of like that. That's what the theme is. They can't encounter the Chimera from 80 years, 70 years in the future. This is the one. This is the ship that the 70 years in the future people have. So it's that ship, not the other one. It's the one they created. So this is what happened to that ship as it was going on, I guess. Yeah, so they recreated the Chimera. The Q guys recreated it in the 8th episode of Legacy, the OG 2380s Chimera, and so that in the 2480s it could be found by the aliens. But yeah, it'd been out there. It's not the same ship as the one that was destroyed. No, it's not. It's a different one. It was conjured by the Q, Amanda Q. So she could go to a party, and she's still looking for the party that she hasn't found because she was never invited to the party. That's the joke. That's the gag. That's the story, basically. Delivering on the cast member. Yeah, why not? Yeah, because there was no party. So these other guys are having a gathering. The Q guys in the continuum. We've never addressed in the story how some of them come back. So there is a little bit of that zombie Valentine thing going on in there as a gag. A little bit of that too, because 2 of the Kirks that appear in it are clearly supposed to be the villainous bad guys from Canary Space 70 years later, but they've been rejuvenated by the planet, or something like that has happened on the planet. Maybe they become the guys later on. It'd be kind of interesting. Maybe they become the Letamok and the Town, and they haven't become it yet. So either they're going back in time and being convoluted, or they haven't become them yet. This is what they're like 70 years earlier. Probably makes more sense that it's what they're like 70 years earlier. Like earlier on in the history, they encounter these people who haven't become the bug creatures yet, which is kind of weird. But sure, why not? So it's kind of tied into the other one. Explains what's going on. Maybe there's a genetic alien virus or something. The crew of the Legacy has to investigate on a planet, or maybe they're evacuating the Far-Outian people, and there just happen to be some of them there. The Andoverites that become the Andoverites that go to the other planet, and then the Valley Religious and the Jocks of Pine Hill, that would be them. So there we go. and the nerds of Pine Hill and the Valley Religious. The jocks of Valley Religious and the nerds of Pine Hill. If you look at the Fallen Ones story, the Fallen Ones planet, is that actually just another event from this other story, which was a vague reference in the Fallen Ones story? Are they just different versions or aspects of that? Sure, why not? Also, if the thoughts create reality, literally in the story, and kind of like Chung Swanee kind of thing, or just silly, kind of thing. Silly Trek does that. If you have Q powers, it does it. If you don't, doesn't. So yeah, you could have sort of an origin. It's not an origin story though. It's sort of a spoof, because Q brings them there to do these things. Maybe to split them apart so that they become the two different groups, and that's how we get Vanguard space and Canary space eventually. Because at the end of the 8th episode, they did hint at that he was going to make a universe for the two warring sides, and just they're going to become that. And if the girlfriend, just we're still friends. It's Amanda Rumsey. If she conjured something herself, it would be this too. So she's not here, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if that happened, she'd probably think this was funny too. Equally funny. There's again no girlfriend for Valentine's Day. Also, I thought it'd be kind of funny if like we played again with some of the gender biases and the woke stuff again, because that's always fun, and to have two of the Faroutian people be versions of Alondra and Sidney the Forge, as though they'd come out male instead of female. I thought it'd be kind of funny. So it's like a different maybe it's the alternate universe Floatite sequel. It could be anything really. I'm just gonna mess around. I'm not even gonna bother with doing the ship models until afterward, and I'm just gonna, and that's easy enough to do. And I would just use the footage from the other stuff. Yeah, so you don't have to. I don't think you're gonna need to build anything. I think they're zapped to a planet, and yeah, I don't even know if they're ever on a bridge in the story, just because it would be confusing. I don't know if they go back and bring the distant destinies people from the future back to the past after they supposedly died. That's probably not what's going on. It's probably this is what they were like before they were that. Yeah, this is years before tying in the. Yeah, but it's multiverse anyway, so it really doesn't matter. I think do a fun story that's fun as quest, a Valentine's Day quest. Don't worry about the details. If it wants to do this, it's going to do this. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So that's it's a party where they weren't invited because there was no party. So she conjured up a party in her mind and had all these things going on, and the party's there, and really, there's nothing. There's no party. That's the joke. Our main crew of the Legacy goes to get her. Presumably she's been there a while, for a couple of months. It's still 2413 in that timeline. I don't think it's any earlier. But to them, the last time they did a silly Valentine episode was quite a bit earlier, and and also let it be known that we found a way to bring back Wilson Uhura. We found a way to do it. Also, we thought we found a way to bring back Ayer as well. So, see how that works. We need to bring back Ayer all this time. Ayer was playing the cat guy. We dressed up the Ayer figure as the cat guy. So now he's not the cat guy anymore. So Orange Claw can't appear again unless you've decided to repaint a Worf figure to look like the cat guy. To be easy enough, we'd inadvertently made a Star Trek Voyager Carey figure, replaced him, renamed him, put him in the other one. Even though that character is dead on Voyager, the action figure isn't. And when we put the character in a Space Vanguards, and then we forgot that we did. So like, oh, also the Piedmont character is Beth Cassin's in the other one, so she's gone. She can't be in this. Oh, she can't be in it either. And we also replaced her for the younger Kira anyway, so that's who that is. If we ever want her to reappear, we're gonna have to get another Kira, paint it, and say, oh, this is the. If we want to do that, although having Jane Piedmont and Ariana Foster or Ariana Piedmont show up is kind of weird because they're listed in the credits. Why would they show up themselves? It'd be like if Kal Kat appeared in the story as himself. Would be a little strange. It has happened on occasion. Yeah, best to not use that character anymore because it's a little weird. It doesn't work. But yeah, the younger ones, the cadet people and stuff, they're in it. Also, I redid the Lion Star Scotty, so he looks better, and the others, originally the Red Letter Media parody guys of themselves, the Jay Bird Man, the Mike Matthews instead of Salaska, and Rich Everson. Rich Everson was a Neelix, and now he's going to be a Scotty. Done up one of the other Scotties to look like him. And Cyrano and Shadow are there too. So there's like other Scotties. Yeah, so they can come back. And then the beat up pirate one, the Cyrano looking one, is what's left of the it's probably Cervantes. That's probably what that is. So yeah, but it's not Everett, because Everett wasn't dead at the end of the story. But yeah, don't worry about the Canary Space characters. I'm sure they're going to pop up again someday, but not anytime soon. We're going to go on to Vanguards. But first, we're going to give you a special episode where we're just going to mess around and just do a bunch of jokes and have some characters come together, do a bunch of jokes. For about 90 minutes. And yeah, that's the after party for this whole thing, for Canary Space. So we'll have some Canary Space stars playing their original characters from 70 years earlier, which is, 70 years earlier. They took their makeup off. Also, we're going to have a fun scene where the two visages of Kirk that were on the bridge. There was the Razrukian guy who was one of the Scotties, but there was also Kirk, who was the assistant Clock, I believe was his name, Clock, and we had Purra, Miguel Purra as Kirk. Now they're going to be arguing with each other as Kirk, like sort of like if Mr. Story, Brian Story, and I were together doing a Kirk imitation. Kirk's. Also, what's kind of funny is that there's even Gloria Elrond Shelavi guy, younger one, and who was in the allegedly in Canary Space. He wasn't really in Canary Space. It was just based on him. He wasn't really in it, but he was Harlingen. And then we had the other Spock, Shelavi, who was an older guy. Shelavi was on the ship at the end of the 2413 story, so he's around too. So presumably, the two figures are different. So a lot of juxtaposition, a lot of characters encountering their other half. And yes, there will be we'll bring back Alexander long enough to go, oh my goodness, what's her name? She's back. And long enough to realize that Ayer looks like him and stuff. And we could have some convoluted reason. We could say, oh, it's Alexander is the nephew of Ayer, and Ayer is actually the secretly in disguise is Kern, and that'd be kind of a nice nod to Tony Todd, who is now deceased. It'd be kind of cool. But probably won't do that because that's a little weird. No, he just looks kind of like him. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. He's an alternate version of Worf who decided to be a Dr. Ayer or something. Yeah, like there parallels. That episode had a lot of Worfs in it, so it could be anything. Now with the multiverse stuff, they all could be anything. You can have some fun with that. It is Valentine's. You know, the cast party. Fake cast party. There wasn't a cast party. There's never been a cast party for the crew of our shows. Sometimes I will come out as different characters and do a cast party thing like this. Except I'm going to animate this like I did the last couple of the convention one and the other one. It'd be kind of funny to animate it instead. Because just watching me dressed in different costumes is not as interesting as the action figures do it. So, making of, this is the party that wasn't, the Valentine's Day special, annual. And let's film these figures standing up in this massive row before they fall over. So what this is the queue opening scene. And let's do this and hope that, yeah, we're not going to film the individual guys. I just want this massive pan shot of everybody. So that's what I'm going to do. So this will be this will be the annual starting out here. This is a teaser and a little more of the annual. This is the opening scene where we have our characters discovering that there's the Q, Amanda Q. There is a precedent for Amanda Q, by the way. A Next Generation episode called True Q, in which there was an Amanda Rogers. It's about the same age as the Amanda. She's actually not really accurately the same age. She would be closer to, she would be a little older than the Amanda in this timeline. But we're implying that it's Amanda Rogers and that she's conjured herself. Also, we've included the sister, who is actually really just the Seska doll. That's been Cedo Jaxa, who keeps reinventing her, reappearing in the story. This is Cedo Jaxa. Also, you have the various other luminaries appearing in the background. And we will see from the other sketches and things tomorrow and the next day, and then put it all together, release it on Valentine's Day. And yeah, we're not gonna do anything involving a script. There is no script. It's just them screwing around. But now that we've established that all of our characters are in certain places, we can have Q mess with them and move them around to have them have talks with each other, rather than having just a convention type, Atomicon type. Ooh, they're gonna talk in a room about how they played their character. It would be more fun to have them do a role play, similar to the old Baycon ones, in which they just kind of act out their parts as they're going to happen later on. So it's kind of a fun, better idea. Sort of a, they're going to be in the Star Trek, and here's our new guys, and here's our introduction, and yeah, we did the Clark meets Thomas already. So, oh, that's not official though. It's Q. It's messing with everything. Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a crossover with Vanguards and Cousins for real. This is just a spoofy Q thing where all the Star Trek crews meet each other like at a convention, kind of. Except it's Valentine's Day. It's Q. He's messing with them. Like the other one was, where they were going after the castle. This one they're going after the, I guess, the treasure or the party that isn't the party that wasn't. Yeah. So. Anyway, and right away it tells you, the Kal Kat character in the story, telling the story, was like, I didn't say there was a cast party. I said I wished there was. You just misinterpreted me. And they're all, it doesn't matter because I've already conjured them. Okay, so there you go. That's what happened. There was no cast party. There have been other gatherings, but they weren't cast parties. They weren't per se. They weren't cast parties. People thinks there should be a cast party in the story. So there's a cast, and they're there, This is Kal Kat, the Kal Kat. I chose a Mark's Cards thing. Yes. This is Kal Kat, the Kal Kat, and this is the making of the party that never happened. Yes, Mark's Cards was here earlier. set. But we finished Kal Kat. Finished this because it's more of a, well, the crew gets together after Canary Space story than it is an actual plotted episode. So it's sort of like a convention, sort of like a Comic-Con convention where we have the characters talk about their characters, do their thing, and joke, and we added some new ones and redid some old ones. And put them in there. We got Alondra and Sydney are back, and those two characters, the LaForge sisters. We have the Picard, Jack Crusher back and stuff like that. Actually, it's a Picard, doesn't paint it. We have the other ones that were in Canary Space, but some of them have been repainted back to their original versions. The Nathan Char is back to being a Chakotay kind of figure, and one of the other Picards is back from being Holt to being one of the Picards again. So it's Ed Splitters. It was this Picard pressure. So you have and then there's a sort of an Admiral Picard in there. He might actually be the one that does that guy. Anyway, so yeah, we have everybody back where they were. We have Orange Claw redone back as Ayer. And a bunch of other characters get their kind of stuff we wanted to do with other legacy characters and just did it here. And knowing how annoyed Amanda, one of the contributors, is about some of the background stuff, we fixed that in the story. Also, and this story being kind of a spoof of that from the holiday here. Another story that's 2 months out of date, but goes in the same direction. It takes a while to make these. Yeah, what'll probably happen is right after we do this, something amusing will come up, but then the Vanguards will be in production, so we'll do that first, then get around to doing it a month later, and it'll no longer be relevant, which is why we do not do topical political stuff, because it's not relevant anymore after like months. We don't do that on the Star Trek channel thing, Vanguard channel thing, because it's not relevant anymore. We want to do stuff that's going to be timeless. You got the the story of the infamous story of the cast party that wasn't well known, and then back behind the scenes, and commented on the Starship on location channel. You both thought socially awkward. Why on earth did you talk about a cast party that never happened with each other? Why'd you do that? That kind of thing. Encourage this other person that there's a possibility that when there never really was one. If you're counting the dramas that we did at the church, as opposed to the drama, but the dramas, they never really had cast parties. They would have food around during the performance, but that wasn't a cast party. That was just there was food handy for the actors to nibble on and snack on during because half of them were snack. College Koinonia, Sunday night alternative College Koinonia, and the other half were Hearts of Worship, the adults from the graduated from it, and the worship team, and half of them, they had snacks around. It's a coincidence, snack and snack. So they would, so this time when they had the adult play, they didn't have, they might have had a gathering, but I wasn't invited because I was not in the adult play. I was a director on the kid play. And yes, they did have a kid thing afterward. And yes, I was there. The other adults that were directors. And she would have been bored to death. She would not have liked it at all. It was not fun for adults. It was a kid party. Not a cast party. Not really. So, indirectly was one. And the dinner after the Christmas play was not doable in the on location. Keep thinking Starship locations. On location mission story. That wasn't doable for them to all go over to Danny's. That would have been the whole family going over. They could have by themselves gone over there, sure. But they were a competitor, for one thing. The mother, Amanda's mother works for the diner across the street. She's not going to go to the competitor either. So that wouldn't happen. Anyway, so this story is a spoof of all that. Much ado about nothing type of stuff. And put up the credits, altered the credits from the Canary Space one into the credits from this one. And kind of made the implication that they were, said who helped on it and everything like that. We've got some new names in the credits down on it. Also, the character of Ponce de Leon, that made up like a low-voiced character. I just said, not special guest appearance, he's in it, so he's just in it now. So I don't know if he's in the Starcrackers one, so still when you do the Space Vanguards one, I don't know if he's in that one, so it might not be. I guess it doesn't matter. It just doesn't really matter. Do whatever. Who's worried about it? Because the long and the short of it is, all the characters that are in these are just Kal Kat voices anyway. It doesn't really matter who they are. Doing a character generation or trying to figure out who the different character voices are supposed to be in real life, and just for my own edification and cards to look at. There've been a lot of character generator kind of thing. Helps you write a story if you know what they're kind of about in a story, in a given story format. Now with Canary Space and Vanguards, they're slightly different than they were in the storybooks and than they are now. I would say the Vanguards ones are very close to what they were in the storybook. They will be. As was pointed out in the story, it's kind of flipped, because now the captain is kind of crazy and wily, and and his adversary, his academy adversary, Raxler, is the one that's not wily and outgoing and gregarious. It's not supposed to be as wily. But then we played him off type, and at times we reversed that and said he was the wily Raxler. That would have actually been wrong, because the Clark character is supposed to be the one that's wily. Yeah, so it should be that Clark is subtly bizarre and avant-garde, and the alien is not as bizarre. No, the alien's not as bizarre. So he's not wily. He's clever. Yeah, that's the term. Wily, not as excited. Which would be hard for Captain Estrogen to play, because he's so wily. I'll tell you. And you made him green, as not to offend any nationalities. Originally, he was not intending to offend anybody, but yeah, he had certain outfits that made him look, well, a little weird. We couldn't use that. Now he's just a regular figure. Now they're all action figures. So well this works. I don't know if this is another trilogy though, because there really weren't as many episodes of this series. With Canary Space, you had 65 one-hour episodes, or, well, technically you had hundreds of half-an-hour episodes. These were, we adapted 4 90-minute movies out of the first book. The first book was 4 90-minute movies, roughly 4 90-minute movies, with each of them being half an hour times 4, 3 times 4. That's what they were. How many episodes? That's 12 episodes. That's 12 episodes. 12 or 50. 3 times 4. Yeah. Yeah. Or is it 9 times 4? No. I had figured that out. Okay. Yeah. 24? No way. Dang it. So, let's see. We got the calculator. Calculator, okay. You've got 90 minutes divided by 30 minutes. 3 hours each. Okay. Claire. 90 minutes times 3. 270 minutes. 270 minutes divided by 3. 90 episodes? That can't be right. That's not right. That's not right. I don't know what I'm doing. My math skills suck. I'm autistic, but my math skills are terrible. Let's see. So there's 3 3-hour episodes in each 90-minute movie, right? There's 3 30-minute episodes, right? Yeah, 3 30-minute episodes in each 90-minute movie. So if there's 3 in each 90-minute movie, then 3 times 3. Right? Yeah. 3 times 3. 9. 9 episodes. There. 9 episodes. Gee, that took forever. 9 episodes. Okay. 9 episodes. I'm rendering the uncut raw footage of this, which is 3.5 hours of this this Valentine's special. Valentine's Day tomorrow. And obviously it's going to be whittled down to at least 90 minutes. Yeah, it's not going to be that long. A 2-hour thing is probably good. It's funny that March Cards was complaining about having seen Joker 2 Fully Ado. Yeah, it was not good. Yeah, the subverting expectations for that particular character was like, okay, yeah, you're mad at the fans. Yeah. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this. I'm never mad at the fans. This story is clearly not that. This is a fun Valentine's Day spoof special episode thing where the characters are pulled into a Amanda Q, because it's not the Amanda Q from Next Generation, it's the Amanda Q from later on, the one from Starship Locations, and she's although there's implied that the Amanda Q is there from the other show somewhere in the cast. I'm not sure who should be, but yeah. We get clarification of some of the characters and their names, of which could possibly be changed later. We get, we get implied relatives that may not be implied, but it definitely clarifies the Locarno thing and the Cedo thing. Definitely clarifies who the Libyan was. Libby definitely does that. This does some other fun stuff. So she wasn't really a Libyan. That's just because her name was Libby. We weren't making fun of the Libyans. It was the 80s. In front of she's Libby. We were in high school. We didn't know what we were doing. It's funny that she became the one that later on reappeared on social media. Not the sister, but yeah, the other one. except for that, this is making of. It's a very short making of. It's not really spoofing anyone in particular. It's what to do at cast parties that didn't actually happen. A longing for, there is a character in it, is longing for a cast party that didn't happen. December and other ones before that were really just snack time. They weren't cast parties either, but there was food and hors d'oeuvres and stuff. Oh, that's just because there was food and hors d'oeuvres there. And if they went to dinner afterward, that wasn't a party. A cast party would be like it'd be catered by someone else. You'd have a big cake. You'd have the cake out, and you'd do that, and you'd have the cake. And they did do that on occasion with the choir, but at the end of season, kind of thing. They did do that. So there were cast parties, technically. But she was never there involved in those. Maybe once. But yeah, probably shouldn't have given her the idea that there was going to be one. It was wishful thinking. We wished for one to happen. But no. There was no catered event thing. There was probably more catering at the web lady's funeral than there was at the party. That didn't happen. Now, this here story got all kind of characterizations, and yeah, it's definitely its own thing. In a way, it's fun, it's cute, it's very well lit. Except right now the camera isn't, but in there it is. One of them makes that observation. 7 of 9 figure goes like, "Oh, this bridge is so much better lit than the bridge that we were on before." In Picard, yeah. Oh, they all have a cameo. Everybody has a cameo because you figure that many figures. There's 130 of them, of different various variations, and if they all had a line, they all would get one line in 130 minutes. Really. Some of them rambled on more than others. We'll see what doesn't work and what works, and we can go through and listen to it. It was done in a day and a half. So go back and play the whole thing, and then go, okay, whatever scenes just don't work, just kind of clip them off, and then just keep going. No work. And then next week on to Space Vanguards. As the studio keeps cranking them out. Space Vanguards. Wait a little while for Space Vanguards. Probably Monday or Tuesday or something. It's already Thursday. Yeah, the weekend, the next week. The set is built. We used the sets of the Vanguards in the story. We borrowed them. So they will look familiar. Vanguard tries to go, wait a minute, that's that. They let us use them. They let us use them. That's how other people have wondered. Oh, is this like a studio thing? It's not a studio. It's a guy doing his fan films in his room. It's not a studio at all. Not really. There's nobody getting paid. There's no studio budget, and there certainly isn't a cast party of action figures. But they did okay. I did like the joke that we threw in there that some of them are section 34 instead of section 31, and also there was a difference with the MacGuffin device, which is in the other story. March Cards liked it better being broken MacGuffin device, but this one rule 34 is section 34. Section 34 deals with clandestine Starfleet story and shipping stories. It's basically, there's porn of it. Then it exists. It exists, there's porn of it. So they go around making sure that people aren't involved in slash stories. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So yeah. that. So yeah, this is kind of slashy. It's making and kissing. Yeah, well, it's Valentine's Day, so it's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Wishful thinking, I guess.